Welcome to the Workers Credit Union FATV studios. I'm Scott May, and this is North Central Journal. And as we kick off a new year, 2022, we thought it would be a good idea to start the year as we did in 21 with the Mayor of Fitchburg, Steve DiNatale. Mayor, thank you again for being with us.
Well, and thank you for inviting me, Scott.
And climbing through another calendar year. And I wondered how 2021, if you compare that to 2020, how did they match up?
They're beginning to run together. I mean, it's all predicated under the heading of COVID, unfortunately. But I think overall we've done pretty well in the city of Fitchburg. Our vaccination rate is not where we would probably like it to be, but again, I believe that what we're challenged by is if you're not vaccinated at this point, it's because you don't wish to be, and that's a thorny issue. That's a private issue, and I don't choose to get involved in that kind of thing. But I think we've done well overall as a city. Our positivity rate is within acceptable ranges, and so we're just going to continue to plug along and live under this ordeal, you might say. Yeah.
You know, one of the things that we talked about a year ago, we did the interview with you in your office at the renovated City Hall. What did getting back into City Hall, sort of back into a normal type of government environment mean to you and to the city?
I think the most obvious benefit is that we provide a better service to the citizens of Fitchburg. It's under one roof. It's one-stop shopping for the most part, 99% of it, and it's a true city hall building, and as opposed to being in a factory, once factory.
The GE building.
So and it's a magnificent building recognized by the state preservation, Massachusetts. We're proud of that, and just everybody that had anything to do with the building. We just had an event this Saturday with the Fitchburg Cultural Council, along with my aide, Joan David, and our housing director, Liz Murphy, in community development, that helped to put together a arts and craft fair at City Hall. And the entire building was filled on Saturday with all sorts of different crafts, from pottery to artwork to beading and jewelry, and it was very well attended. And I think for the most part, most of the comments I heard were that people were so impressed by the building, and that was great to hear.
Yeah, it is beautiful. It really is.
Came out well.
It sure did.
Yeah.
Now, a year ago when we talked to you, we were introduced to a new chief of staff, and here a year later, you have another new chief of staff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about her a bit.
Natalia Oliver is her name. She's a Leominster resident. She's a native of Uruguay, and worked in the private sector for most of her life, and has two young girls, children, and a significant other living with her. And she's got, what they say, drinking from the fire hose. That's what this is like for her. She was a private sector. It's a different world. The public sector it's almost indescribable. Yeah. You have to get into it. You have to really get in and to see what it's really like. So every day is a learning adventure for her, to say the least.
Now, another major project within the downtown area of Fitchburg is the Boulder Drive Main Street project that's going on. What is that going to look like, and when do you expect that to be completed?
Yeah, both roadways will be two-way. They'll be going in opposite directions. That you'll start seeing some changes with signalization and crosswalks, and you've seen some of that work being done recently over the last couple of months. Curbing put in, sidewalks, so on and so forth.
Right.
So that'll continue. We're looking at probably, I want to give us a little wiggle room and say the middle of the 2022 summer coming up July, August, that kind of thing. So, and Boulder Drive will be two-way as well. So we're excited about that. We believe it's going to generate a much more walkable downtown. And following that, we've got our challenges with the vacancy rate on Main Street. We know it's too high, but we're working each and every day to try and attack that problem. And we think we've got a solution, and part of it is that change in traffic direction.
We want to talk about some of the things that are going on in buildings along the Main Street corridor. And let's go to the Harper building first, because I know that project is underway. What's going to happen with the Harper building?
You know, I keep throwing around the numbers, Scott. I get confused sometimes. 46, 48 units. I think it's one or the other. The building itself will be housing, along with the 1890 fire station. That will be 2 units in there as well. And there'll be a parking facility in between. So as most people have seen, there's a lot of work being done in that building. And we're excited about that. That's a Rees Larkin project. It's a development firm out of Boston. John Radzinski's the person that we've been working with. He's been an outstanding partner, along with Bill Krikorian, who's done a lot of work in the city of Fitchburg. So we're looking for great things in Morin Square. Some things that will change, hopefully, as a result of that you might see down the road with the configuration of the traffic circle itself.
Yeah.
So,
and for folks not familiar, Morin Square is near the train station in that area.
Right.
Yep.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. That this is transportation-oriented development, TOD. The state loves that. We do as well. And that's the benefit, one of the benefits of having that housing so near to rail and bus facilities. Yeah. I mean, it's literally within a 50-yard walk.
Right.
So that works right into where we should be.
Now, what else is happening on Main Street? Something at Main and Day? Is there something happening there?
North Street across from the fire station. Okay. Another building, I want to say 60 plus units, maybe even a little more. That's going to be more of a high-rise, 4 or 5 story building. That's moving forward. We're not quite sure. I'm not sure when that physical groundbreaking is going to take place, but that's there. You've got the Pelletier project that's up and occupied on Crescent Street that you can see from Main. And across what we call the old Flatiron building, it's similar to what's in New York. A person that owns that building is a developer out of Connecticut, and she has made effort to clean up the building, get rid of some of the hazardous materials in the building. That's the first step, and then we'll be working with her to make that housing units as well. And again, tying into the transportation component down the road.
Now, North Street is the corridor that goes to Fitchburg State University. Right. Folks are familiar with that. What about Fitchburg State? Of course, they have the theater block. Are there plans for more work there?
Moving forward on that, I mean, the tricky part there is cobbling together tax credits and state help in that respect. And we've made great efforts there. We've showed just recently the Secretary of Housing and Economic Development brought him through a tour. Lieutenant Governor's been there several times to see the old theater. Yep. And very exciting things going on. I mean, we're still looking at a couple 3 to 4 years or out, but we're moving every day. We're moving closer to making that a reality. So we're excited about that.
Now, are there any other projects within that footprint?
Around the corner, technically, the Fitchburg Arts Community. Sure. The old B.F. Brown. Yep. Across from the Art Museum. That's moving forward. Mark Doan, outstanding partner in the city. That'll be in the 60-plus range units. Another exciting project that, I'm remiss to not say that I use the word transformative probably more than I should. But in that respect, that will truly be transformative in that neighborhood. It's going to change things for the better. So we're excited about that as well.
The mill buildings, West Fitchburg primarily. A lot of empty space there.
Yeah.
Is anything percolating going on?
Well, the River Street project, Ivor Mills, the old Ivor Johnson, the 3 buildings, Aldo Mazzaferro and Rich Darche have been working with us for, it's coming up to a couple of years now. They've mitigated what hazardous materials are in those buildings, so they're moving forward to make that next step and to make that probably, there may be a mixed use component, but I think for the most part, it's going to be housing as well. And those three units are going to, again, transform that neighborhood as well. We're hoping that what happens there will generate to some changes across the street in the old, that parking lot area.
Right, yeah.
Right. So generate retail and commercial interest with all those people across the street.
And how about further west, into West Fitchburg, the old Crocker buildings out there?
Yeah. Well, I just got a call today from a property owner in one of the mill buildings and talking about wanting to meet me next week. We're going to take a tour of the building and to see some of the exciting organizations he's got going in there. And Joan just mentioned to me before I left some of the things he mentioned, and I said, "Ooh, okay, sounds great. Let's go." So, Game On Fitchburg is close to opening in earnest.
Yeah.
Probably another month or so. Probably looking at February for them to be opened. But they're moving forward. The field house is almost complete. All the fields have been put in. It's already being used. Fitchburg High School uses it along with. They have tournaments on a regular basis, so good things happening there as well.
Yeah. Now, Amazon, another, that is probably something that people haven't heard a lot about, but it is huge. And the number of jobs, potential
200 to 300
there.
jobs.
Yeah.
If you go by there, you'll see most of it is demolished.
And where is this?
The old Simon Saw and Steel building.
Okay.
On Intervale Road.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Yeah. And it's exciting stuff. That building was 300,000 square feet, and what they're proposing. And I never saw this coming. But when you're Amazon, you can do these kinds of things. I thought they'd just occupy the building. I mean, it's a last mile kind of facility that's going to be distributing their product from there. And I thought they'd use the entire 300,000 square feet, but they didn't like that. So they demolished the building. They're replacing with a 100,000 square foot building that's built to suit their needs, which makes sense. And again, when you're Amazon, you can do those kinds of things.
Apparently so,
right,
yes.
Right. So we're in discussions with them on road improvements, and they're very, very receptive to those kinds of things. So we've got a great relationship so far.
And you said 200 to 300 jobs.
200 to 300 jobs is what we're being told. Yep.
Now, what about the rail trail project? People probably if you travel Route 2, you know that something went up over Route 2 a while ago.
It says Fitchburg limits the rail trail. That's a dead giveaway, right? Yeah.
But how's that coming along?
Yeah, it's coming along well. I mean, Lynch is the corporation that's doing the work as the contractor. We've got. We're hoping that we can be up and running very shortly, and we've got some challenges there as well to make sure that the trail is maintained, and we're going to ensure that. We have one piece that's the next phase. It's phase 2 of this project, is a bridge down by Market Basket, bridge that goes over the rail line. It's very important to have access point from there. So that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but we're working with Mass Department of Transportation to make that happen, and along with the city. So
now, I was at the ribbon cutting ceremony a couple of years ago at Fitchburg Airport with plans for a new or an extended runway.
Right.
That has been completed.
Yeah, 5,000 and 1 foot runway for insurance purposes, I'm told. It has to be more than 5,000. But it will handle, it handles, I don't even know if you'd call them small jets, maybe medium jets. Peter Kettle is the airport manager, and he's done an absolutely outstanding job. And he calls me when someone flies in. I was out there about a month and a half ago. The owner of Peterbilt, they build trucks.
Yeah, yeah.
He has a facility on John Fitch Highway, on Airport Road. And he was in town. He flew in from Tampa in his 2019 whatever jet. And they brought me in, and I looked around and I said, oh my God. Yeah, the pilot was saying they're leaving from here and going to Minnesota or something, and then on to California or whatever. And this is what he does on a regular basis. But that's the kind of traffic. And the benefit too is we in collaboration with the state, particularly my good friend the Lieutenant Governor, we talked about, this is a couple of years ago now, putting in a fuel facility, a self-serve, which has been in for several months. It's a much better operation. You can fuel up by yourself. We don't need to expend a worker to do that for you. And it can be after hours. It's all by credit card. So much more efficient operation. And those jet fuel, you make a couple more bucks on jet fuel than you do on regular aviation fuel. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking in terms of course, the airport's in Fitchburg, but this is huge for the region.
It's a regional facility,
yeah.
Scott. We don't promote it probably as well as we could, but it really is. It really is a regional asset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I wondered if you have talked about the Build Back Better funds that may be coming through the state down to cities and towns.
Yeah.
And do you have an expectation of what that number is?
Oh, we have the ARPA money, the American Rescue Plan.
Mm-hmm.
We have been allocated about $32 million. And we have established an advisory committee. We've been meeting for, got to be a couple of months now. So we're trying to put together, we just began a couple of weeks ago meeting with people who've put in requests for proposals that would like to participate in some of that revenue for their operations. Most of them nonprofit, obviously. So, matter of fact, all of them are nonprofit, or city organizations as well, DPW, police, fire. So we're going to have to put all those together, all those requests, and then decide on how we're going to apply those funds.
One of the things that, and you're probably going to shake your head when I say this, that people complain about a lot are the condition of roads, and not just in Fitchburg.
Yeah.
My brother, who grew up in this area, lives now in Tennessee, and he was visiting us around Father's Day in last year. And he said, I can't believe how bad the roads are around here. And I said, well, you know what the winters are like. You know what happens to these roads. But what people tend to forget is funding for road improvement doesn't come from the budgets within the communities. That has to trickle down from the state.
Yeah, for the most part it does. My administration, since I've taken over as mayor, we've put almost a little over $1 million out of available funds, which has never been done, where we're using free cash capital to augment road repair. We don't get nearly enough money from the state. Chapter 90 is roads and bridges. We may get about 1.2, 1.3 million a year. That's about a mile of road. That's about it.
Yeah.
And people have to understand, we will continue to do the best we can. We'll continue to keep the roads repaired as much. And again, I don't want people that may be viewing this to start glazing over, because when I talk to people one-on-one, that's what they do. They glaze over when you start talking about topography and geographics, where we live.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of water, a lot of hills, a lot of granite. So water starts out in one place and ends up in another. So we've got road conditions that, in normal conditions, you'd get 20 years out of a repaved road. In Fitchburg, certain areas, maybe 10.
Yeah.
And again, they glaze over because they don't want to hear it. They just want you to fix them.
Yeah, sure.
And believe me, I feel their pain.
Yep.
And I have to drive on these roads as well. But we'll continue to do the best we can. What I'm working with is some of my friends on Beacon Hill and the Mass Municipal Association, with convincing the legislature that they need to expend more money into Chapter 90. It's just not enough. I mean, if we were going to pave every road in Fitchburg that needs paving, and this is probably a conservative estimate, Scott, it'd be $75 million.
Yeah.
I mean, now the ARPA money, if we're repairing infrastructure, we can pave that road, and we're taking that under consideration. So
Okay.
if you're replacing a water line or a sewer line, the paving of that road afterwards can come under that category.
I see. Yeah.
But $32 million sounds like a lot of money. And when you start considering who's asking for what, and how my mission is to try and get the largest benefit for the most people. When you start looking at it that way, that money doesn't last long.
Yeah.
Most of it, if you're looking at who's affected most, it's DPW projects. Because everyone uses the roads, everyone uses the sewer system, and everyone uses the water system. So if you want it to reach the most people, those are the kinds of projects. But they're not sexy. They're not appealing. It's not like, oh God, something you can see.
Yeah, sure.
It's it's in the ground.
Now, I and you will know this certainly a lot better than I am, but I understand that the Chapter 90 funds, there has been no increase in that in years, right?
Yeah, it's got to be, I believe the last time the increase was close to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And I've had conversations, Jeff Beckwith is the executive director of Mass Municipal, and he agrees. And what we're trying to do is, get together a number of mayors throughout the Commonwealth, because as you said, we're not alone in this. I mean, there are a number of neighborhoods and a number of cities where same situation exists.
Sure.
So
2022, here we are in a new year. As we look ahead, and as you look ahead, are there things that are coming up or anticipated that you can talk about? Can you pull the curtain back on a couple of things?
Well, some of the things we talked about, and I tell people, one of my least desirable attributes is patience. I don't have a lot of patience. And most of the projects we're talking about.
That run in the family? I'm just curious.
It may. It doesn't happen in a week or two. It happens over years. And that's a little frustrating for me. But coming up down the road will be more housing projects. I think that's important to us. And the completion of things like Amazon, and actually seeing them up and running and bringing them over the goal line, getting them actually to where we realize the benefit that they have. Our cannabis industry is thriving. I mean, we've maxed out with facilities like that. They're doing very well. Our host agreements are generating a great deal of much needed revenue. So we're happy about that. Mm-hmm. And we've repurposed buildings that otherwise were vacant. And now they're back on the tax rolls. We're happy about that.
What about public schools, school projects? Are there things that...
Well, we got the Crocker project. As a matter of fact, this afternoon is a architectural meeting that we're going to have with Crocker School and the project in general.
Yep. That's
at 3 o'clock. So we'll be talking about where we are with that. That's an exciting project that, and that along with, we'll be hopefully moving closer to seeing the library come to fruition and the change there as well.
Civic Days. Had to put it on the back burner in 2021. You're hoping to bring it back to life in 2022?
We just met this week. I met with Reimagine North of Maine, and along with my new chief of staff, little baptism by fire. But we're going to be taking it up once again. Our plan, again, barring any unforeseen surprises from from our what's becoming our constant friend, COVID-19. We're planning on having an event as normal with the parade, fireworks, duck race in the summer.
Got to have the duck race.
Got to have the duck race. Big
block party.
block party.
All that stuff,
oh yeah, block party as well.
Which was so successful.
Oh, well, last year, 2 years ago, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I think we had over almost 20,000 people.
Yeah.
If not 20,000. Yeah. We were happy about that.
Now, you've been in office for a while now.
6 years.
And very recently, Governor Baker has made known that he is not going to seek re-election. How many more years are you going to be at this
term,
thing?
the term I was just elected to is another 2 years. So
Right. Yeah.
it'll be 8 years. I'll be here until, 23, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I'm a little bittersweet. I texted the Lieutenant Governor last week. I said it's a bittersweet announcement, but I completely understand why. That's going to be a loss for the city of Fitchburg. The partnership, particularly with the Lieutenant Governor, and it's because of the relationship we
She's
developed.
a Worcester County lass, so
she's
she gets
Shrewsbury, and we've known each other since we served in the legislature together 10 years ago. So I'm going to miss her. I'm going to miss Charlie as well. He was a good friend to the city of Fitchburg. We had a real working relationship, and we're going to miss that. But we're hoping for good things from whoever comes in.
Well, with Representative Kuchmarek and Senator Cronin, you've got two relatively new guys in place. And
a couple of hard charges. They work hard. I think their youth speaks for itself. They really get out there and dig in, and we're fortunate to have them in their positions.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for taking time to be with us again, and certainly congratulate you on all the great things that are happening in Fitchburg, and sure look forward to the new routes on Main Street and Boulder Drive.
That's right. It's going to be funny to look at that change. It's going to be back to shades of 1964. I think that's when
I was a kid. That's right.
Is that right? Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and good luck in 2022. It's great seeing you again.
Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it.